Coming up, a violinist is playing for Indian country all across the world, and the Crazy Horse Memorial turns 75. Plus, we speak to a newly awarded visionary leader for the 2023 Bush Foundation Fellowship. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amarawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. A new study from Wake Forest University School of Medicine shows Indigenous men are not getting regularly screened for prostate cancer. Over a 5-year period, researchers analyzed over 500 million visits, of which about 4% were for American Indian and Alaska Native men. The results indicated American Indian and Alaska Native men are far less likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer. However, data shows their prostate cancer outcomes are much worse than other ethnic groups, especially for men between the ages of 50 to 59 years old. This may be a direct result of not getting tested at the same rate as others.
Men on an annual basis should have their cholesterol checked, they should have their blood pressure checked, they should have a prostate exam, they should have a PSA or prostate-specific antigen, if not every year, every 2 to 3 years, to help establish a baseline for evaluation of possibly clinically significant prostate cancer in the future.
The study concluded that more research is needed to explore the differences in screening practices and to examine Indigenous access to care. Moving to Hawaii, a proposed project would make rock climbing, beach volleyball, and surfing easily accessible to the island of Oahu. But not everyone is happy about it, and it is dividing Indigenous people in the area on the topic. Native Hawaiian waterman Duke Kahanamoku's legacy is large, so large that he is nicknamed the father of modern-day surfing. In the 1900s, the Olympic gold medalist spread his love of the ocean throughout the world, using the ancestral teachings of his people. That legacy of surfing continues to this day. That's part of the reason why local businessman and surfer Brian Keaulana wants to boost the sport by building an artificial wave pool. He says he worries the state's Olympic surfing hopefuls are at a disadvantage to those who can easily train at one of the dozen surf parks around the world.
People fly us all over the world to teach them what we know, and it's just a great place to stay home and really teach our own people.
But not everyone agrees with his idea. The technology for the pool would use 7 million gallons of water and would be located just 2 miles away from a popular ocean surfing spot. Earlier this year, another wave pool opened nearby.
Why do we need wave pools on an island surrounded by the ocean?
Heialani Sonoda Pale is a water protector who opposes the project. A group of similar-minded Native Hawaiians have filed a lawsuit in the state's environmental court to stop the project. They say construction would damage seaweed near the shore or desecrate the remains of the Native Hawaiian ancestors. Still, Native Hawaiian surfers like Ikaika Kaulu Kukui say they could benefit from the pool.
We historically had like a pretty bad run of the end of winter season, so it's been hard to just go and surf.
Waves at the attraction would be customizable, from barreling waves to kid-friendly ones. With the tap on a tablet, the electromechanical system would generate up to 1,000 waves per hour, mimicking ocean swells up to 8 feet high.
The more time you have on board, any board, in a wave is going to be more beneficial for your surfing. So
Developers for the project say the lagoon won't have a significant environmental impact after completing necessary paperwork on it. But that's in contrast to the water crisis the island faces. Much of it was front and center when, in 2021, a storage facility for the U.S. military leaked fuel into the island's aquifer. Families say in court documents they don't know what was in the water they drank and bathed in, and have emphasized the importance of the precious resource.
So to use to use water for anything other than drinking, to use this fresh water for recreational purposes, to make money, it goes against our culture. It goes against what's right at this point in history, especially because of the water crisis Oahu is in.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Aaliyah Chavez, ICT News. The artificial wave pool is slated to be opened in the summer of 2024. However, a hearing on the case is set for July. It is not immediately clear when a judge might rule. The National Park System Advisory Board has made history with its latest appointment. Yakama Nation citizen Asia Dekoto is the first Native American to serve on the board in its 88-year history. The board maintains the well-being of cherished national parks and makes all decisions impacting public lands and waters. Dekoto has 2 decades of natural resource management and policy work under her belt. She currently serves as the executive director of the Columbia River Intertribal Fish Commission. Dekoto said in a statement she's honored to advise Secretary Deb Haaland in maintaining the country's natural beauty and wildlife for generations to come. In Wyoming, the National Park Service is asking its visitors to refrain from climbing in the month of June. This month holds spiritual significance for the tribes closely associated with Bear Lodge at Devil's Tower National Monument. Since June of 1996, the park has asked climbers to respect the cultural traditions of the tribes in the area. A voluntary closure was agreed upon by representatives in both the climbing and Indigenous communities. It serves as an opportunity for park guests to learn more about Native American culture and values. Since the voluntary closure was introduced, the park has seen an 85% decrease in climbing during the observance. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. A violinist is using her talents to shine light on crucial issues. Jeanvieve Gros-Louis Salamone is an internationally renowned producer and violinist. Her talents have led her to perform at events such as the Cannes Film Festival, Paris Fashion Week, and the Santa Fe Indian Market. She joins us now virtually with her upcoming projects. Hello to you, Jeanvieve.
It's so wonderful to be here. It's a wink for having me.
You were just in France for the Cannes Film Festival for the premiere of Killers of the Flower Moon. Can you tell us about the performance you had?
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of working with Osage artist Dante Bisgrayson, owner and designer of Sky Eagle Collection. And we wanted to bring the representation of the Osage people to the premiere of this really, massive Hollywood film that has been, it's been in the works for a long time. And I think the goal of this performance was to make sure that we were telling the story of the Osage people from the Osage people. So Dante wrote a poem, a spoken word piece that I composed music for and I performed violin live with, and we had a collection of gowns and dresses with quite literally the FBI files of if you're familiar with the story of the Killers of the Flower Moon. If not, no spoiler alerts, but I will say that there's a lot of trauma in the story. But I think what's really important about telling the story is making sure that it is heard and that it's being told by the people that need to tell this story. And it was really a powerful experience to be able to present this music there in that environment surrounded by Osage people. It was an honor to be able to bring that representation to such a large stage.
You're right that this film has been buzzing all across Indian country and across the nation. What was it like to share those moments with so much Indigenous talent present?
It just felt like we were honestly home away from home. What kind of was cool about that, there were so many natives in Canada at that time, and we're just like, hey, what's up? Representation. But also, what was so beautiful about the premiere of this film and what we're hearing is that Martin Scorsese really went the extra mile to connect with the Osage community and the elders to make sure that the story that they were writing was directly, relating to what actually happened. He was trying to be as respectful as possible, and he made sure that there was as much Indigenous representation in this movie as possible.
How did you approach the compositions for this performance surrounding the story of the Osage people, as you just mentioned?
Yeah, it was, as Dante and I discussed, it was, as we said, it was big medicine. It was really intense to take on such an emotionally charged project. So it took me a little while to find the right headspace to compose it, but I ended up studying a lot of war dances of the Osage people that Dante sent to me to listen to, and he actually even recorded some bells from his regalia that I incorporated throughout the entire piece, and drums that he sent recordings of that I incorporated in the entire piece. I actually wrote an entire EP surrounding this, so it's kind of a storytelling experience, which also I feel like is a way of connecting with our culture and our ancestors.
I would actually really love to learn more about your upcoming EP. When can we expect to see that, and what will we expect to see in it?
Well, it's going to be leading up to the release of the film in October. It's called Flower Moon, Honoring the Osage, and it's a collection of pieces of music featuring Dante Bisgrayson's spoken word performances and traditional Indigenous instruments, from flutes, rattles, and as I mentioned, I put a lot of his regalia bells in the music because he really wanted that representation. And I layered a lot of voices to make it sound as if it was the village that was crying. I really wanted to bring out the pain, honestly, of the story, because it's important that we understand that there is a lot of emotion that is connected with this story, and I wanted to make sure that that representation was in the score.
I'm really curious. It's not every day that we hear about violinists who are Native. What led you to start playing the violin to begin with?
I loved fiddle music, honestly. So I'm from Quebec originally. My reservation's just outside of Quebec City, and there's always been like a very fiddle atmosphere around our reservation, and like literally like my grandma would play spoons. It's very like much that part of our culture, so that's always kind of been relevant, but I've always just been very connected with the violin, and I can't personally sing, so I found that I could sing through my instrument. So that's how I find that I can actually share my voice and what my soul is trying to speak. So that's how I kind of relate my inner voice.
Well, Jeanvieve, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. See you, Wink.
Whitney Rencountre often speaks of the importance of bridge building between communities. As the longtime director of the Lakota culture-based Ateyapi mentoring program in Rapid City, South Dakota, he also served as chairman of the South Dakota Humanities Council. Whitney currently sits on Rapid City's Human Rights Commission and last year was named CEO of the Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation. Whitney, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today.
Construction of the Crazy Horse Memorial began 75 years ago, and it's actually one of South Dakota's most popular tourist attractions. Tell us how this project began.
So the late Chief Henry Standing Bear, who was first cousins of Crazy Horse, he started actually what we learned, and as we did research about this 75th anniversary, Chief Henry Standing Bear started Crazy Horse Memorial Association years before Crazy Horse Memorial was established, the carving. And so when he saw Mount Rushmore being carved here in the Black Hills, he wanted something to be representative of our people. He wanted to honor Crazy Horse. He wanted people to learn and have an opportunity. You have all these people coming to the Black Hills every year, So to have a memorial to share with people the beauty, the history, the difficult history of our people, the facts, the transition that happened with our ancestors moving to reservations, but also to represent the beauty and the culture through the art, through our performers, to educators. So that's kind of how the memorial, the Tchaikovsky family really dedicated their lives to this memorial. And that's really kind of how we got to where we are today.
Let's actually talk about the goals of the Crazy Horse Foundation.
Yeah, so Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation is composed of 23 board members and 3 emeriti of leaders all across the nation. And myself as the chief executive officer, we oversee the mountain carving, the museum that we have here, the university. And so our mission is to protect and preserve the history, the culture, the living heritage of our people, the indigenous people of North America. And so by educating and really providing a place for people to learn and understand a little bit about our people, it inspires people to want to learn more. And so the focus of our mission and the work that we do here is to really provide representation, to provide a place for artists, for performers from all these different nations across North America, the tribes, to come here to tell their own stories, to share their own truth, to provide a space for that to take place. And so that's something that we're really excited about, to hear all the different tribal stories and where they're at in their lives.
Whitney, you've so often talked about the 3 pillars of the memorial. Tell us about what those are.
So once again, obviously the mountain carving is what attracts all the visitors here. And then when they come here, they experience the museum space and learn about some of the items I have behind myself. A lot of our indigenous artists that through the years really are so talented, and we have many of their pieces all throughout that have been donated to Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation. And then as well, we have the university where we have 32 students from different tribes all across North America that are here for our summer program, that earn 12 college credits, and then they experience internship at the memorial. And then we mentor them and support them all the way until they graduate college. So we've had over 400 students come through our university program, and it's really to help them get over the culture shock and give them the tools so that they can be successful. So into the future, we're going to continue to expand the work that we do to help not only indigenous people, but help non-natives to learn more about our people, to help disable the stereotypes, to help do away with a lot of the prejudice things that our people face, because they hear firsthand from our people while they're here at the memorial.
Can you actually tell us the personal stories of some of the students who go through the university?
Yeah, so we have students that come from, graduate, whether it's Red Cloud High School or Standing Rock High School or something of that nature close by, or even Riverside, an Indian school, and they come here to the program. And we've had students that last summer I had a student from my tribe, the Crow Creek Hunkpati Dakota Oyate, but she was living off the reservation in Yankton, South Dakota. She came to our summer program, and she still was trying to find her own heritage, her own culture, get reconnected to her family. And she applied to be enrolled into our tribe, and she was not able to get enrolled. So I called home to my mother, who works amongst the tribe, and that same day they pushed her application through and she got enrolled. And so she felt so sense of a connection and to be welcomed back to our community. Now she's back again as an upper level student, and she just is thriving. She feels that connection to her culture. And so that's some of the personal stories that come from a lot of these students that come here. They want to reconnect to who they are, and being around all these other students while they're here. You could just see that they don't want to leave when the program ends. They're all in tears, and they feel like we have a safe place for them. But we're real proud about the work of our university staff.
And what's next for the memorial?
Well, I think, for myself, I being new and as a CEO coming up on my first year, I think for me, it's not about me as an individual. In our culture, it's about our team. It's about our people. How do we work together? We have a great connection here. Mrs. Z, the first CEO of Crazy Horse Memorial, she had a Hunka sister named Nally Tubols from the Oglala Lakota Nation. So they have already had those relationships and those connections. And so moving into the future, we're going to try to continue to find ways to expand the work here so that when visitors come here, they hear firsthand from Indigenous people telling our stories, sharing our art, sharing our talents, promoting and expanding the university to be bigger, and continue to provide more opportunities for visitors as well as students, and just to indigenize the work that's being done here at Crazy Horse Memorial. So we're excited about the opportunities into the future.
Well, Whitney Rencountre, it's wonderful to see you as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The Bush Foundation offers a fellowship that supports accomplished leaders to take their leadership to the next level. This year, 590 people applied for the Bush Fellowship, and 24 individuals were awarded. One of them is Tasha Peltier, who is the co-executive director for the Minnie-Wauchoni Health Circle. She is on a mission to help Indigenous communities reclaim their health and wellness. And she joins us now virtually with more. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. We're excited that you're here today, and congratulations on this fellowship. What made you want to apply, and what does it mean to you that you are one of the chosen fellows?
Well, I think I was really inspired by other people that have been previous Bush Fellows. I have people, in my own family that were Bush Fellows. I've seen, a lot of colleagues of mine, people doing really amazing work in our communities that were previous Bush Fellows. And really, I had a lot of encouragement from people to apply. And I think for me, it just means that, this fellowship is all about building leadership and really focusing on your own skills. And I'm in a place in my life where I really, want to work on that. I want to be able to be confident in my abilities and, to be able to facilitate discussions that are necessary for us to really move the needle on health and wellness within our communities. And so I'm just really extremely grateful to be a part of this. I'm sitting alongside a lot of people that are doing amazing work across the region, and I'm just really honored and privileged to be a part of this cohort.
Can you tell us exactly how this fellowship will help the mission of your work?
Yeah, so really, my focus is on learning from other communities. When we look at Indigenous communities regarding health and wellness, we're really functioning within systems that weren't created for us. So when we think about, a Western model of medicine, it's really focused on that physical aspect. And us as Indigenous people, spirituality is a huge part of our overall health and wellness. And so how do we think about creating systems that are able to meet those needs of our community members and to really be able to incorporate those pieces, into health and wellness and not keep them separated, because not only are we trying to rethink the systems that we are operating in or utilizing, we also need to rethink, be thinking about the history behind us and the things that have impacted the way our health and wellness is today. And so we're combating a lot of trauma, we're combating a lot of separation from our way of life, from our culture, our spirituality. And so we have to find ways to be uplifting that. And I think healthcare is one of the areas where that can be done. And so really this fellowship is going to give me the opportunity to be able to learn from other communities that are successfully doing those things. It's going to, allow me the opportunity to, like I mentioned earlier, develop leadership skills in either facilitating conversations, having those discussions that are necessary for us to address the healthcare needs within our communities. And also it's going to give me the ability to take care of myself. One of the things that this fellowship really focuses on is self-care and being able to take care of yourself, which, sometimes is hard for us to do as Indigenous peoples. We're always thinking of others. We do things, in the spirit of helping others. And so that's a piece that's a little bit harder to incorporate. But
can you actually talk more about the current state of health and wellness in Indigenous communities from what you've observed?
Yeah, I think, that's a tough one because one of the things that we recognize is that any of the data, health related data in our communities is really, that's an area that we can improve because there's various reasons, that the reasons why it's that way. But when I think that we know from just national level statistics and just things that we know from being in our communities is that we do face some of the highest health disparities in a lot of areas. And, I think we need to take a step back and look at, the reasons behind that, moving upstream. What are the reasons that are causing those disparities? Why are we seeing higher rates of diseases and, things in our communities? And when you kind of trace things back, we know that there's a correlation between, separation from our identity. Some people have been completely separated from their spirituality or from their culture, and that was intentional. That was intentional federal policy that created that. And so finding those ways, not only to increase access to health care, but also increasing access to, our way of life and our ceremonies and our spirituality. And so I really want to come at things and think about it in a strength-based way. So instead of looking at the disparities and the things that we don't have or the things that, are the ailments that we're seeing, I want to really look at what has carried us for generations through all of the trauma, through all of the things that have been done to our communities. And so that's where I think a shift in that thinking can really make a difference in our communities.
Well, Tasha Peltier, congratulations again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.